Vivo V7 and V7 Plus present the News Hour at 9. Driven by Hyundai, co-powered by Siska. Light years ahead.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Prime Minister Modi assured times now in his exclusive interview over the weekend that he will be singing India's praises at the world stage in dedication to 1.25 billion people who have scripted India's success story. And yes, the Prime Minister lived up to the promise he made to India by highlighting India's growth story and pledging support to the world on 3 fronts.
3.5 साल के भीतर भारत की जो ये पूरा टर्न अराउंड है, फ्रेजाइल 5 से लेकर के ब्राइट स्पॉट तक का, तो ये भारत के 125 करोड़ देशवासियों के पुरुषार्थ का परिणाम है। और मेरा काम है दुनिया में जाकर के उनके गीत गाना, मेरा काम है मेरे 125 करोड़ देशवासियों की पराक्रम की गाथा दुनिया को बताना। हमने जो रास्ता चुना है वो रास्ता है रिफॉर्म, परफॉर्म एंड ट्रांसफॉर्म। आज हम भारत की अर्थव्यवस्था को जिस प्रकार से निवेश के लिए सुगम बना रहे हैं, उसका कोई सानी नहीं है।
But what's unfortunate tonight, ladies and gentlemen, is the fact that within minutes of his address, Rahul Gandhi, in his full zeal, vigor and haste, did the unthinkable. And that's the case that I present to you, ladies and gentlemen. Like every night, that's the case on which you, the viewer, has to give his judgment. Not only was Rahul Gandhi in a hurry tonight to mock the Prime Minister, but with his tweet, he also let down India. Perhaps emboldened by his recent surge in the social media following, Rahul Gandhi, not applying his mind this time around, mockingly asked the Prime Minister why he didn't remind the Swiss people on why 1% of Indians own 73% of the nation's wealth. Is Rahul even aware of the fact that income disparities have blighted India since independence? Did Rahul Gandhi ever question why his grandmother's Garibi Hatao slogan coined in 1970 never lifted Indians out of poverty? Why hasn't Rahul Gandhi, as an MP, never asked the same question of Dr. Manmohan Singh when he was the Prime Minister in Parliament? Does Rahul Gandhi have an answer for the failure of a slew of populist schemes launched by the Congress since 1947? Can a party that has contributed to inequality through alleged corruption today blame it all on Modi government? The case tonight, ladies and gentlemen, is that Rahul won't answer these questions. Maybe he's already thinking of his next tweet to target the Prime Minister. Which brings me to the legitimate question tonight. In his haste to target Prime Minister Modi, has Rahul Gandhi let down India? That's also the poll on your screens tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Tweet in whether you support Rahul Gandhi, you agree with the question we are asking tonight, or you support Prime Minister Narendra Modi. But before we go across to the big debate, PM in Davos. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, that's the hashtag. Let's take a look at the top headlines making news this Tuesday evening. Prime Minister Narendra Modi scripts history in Davos, hard sell India's growth story to the world, reiterates his mantra of reform, perform and transform. The world lauds India for being a bright spot, but Raga takes a jibe at Prime Minister to claiming him to have spotted India's black hole. Has Rahul Gandhi forgotten Congress's accountability on income disparity? Ahead of Mohan Bhagwat's promise to hoist the flag on Republic Day in Kerala, Times Now accesses Kerala government's order which restricts the right to hoist the flag to just state officials. The flag code does not put curbs on an individual's right to hoist the flag, but Pinari Vijayan's government makes blatant attempts to hijack Republic Day celebrations.
You're watching the News Hour at 9.
Speaking like a global statesman in his opening address at Davos, first time a Prime Minister in 20 years addressed the gathering at Davos, and Prime Minister Narendra Modi set the tone for the World Economic Forum Summit. From India's growth story and the reforms he has undertaken, Prime Minister Modi touched on global issues, warning about protectionism and climate change. Even as world business leaders gave the Prime Minister's speech a big thumbs up, back home, Rahul Gandhi took a jibe on Twitter, revealing a sulking mindset, totally at odds with the bright spot that the world identifies with India. Take a look at this report.
हमने लाइसेंस परमिट राज को जड़ से खत्म करने का प्रण लिया है। रेड टैप हटाकर हम रेड कारपेट बिछा रहे हैं। अर्थव्यवस्था के लगभग सभी क्षेत्र फॉरेन डायरेक्ट इन्वेस्टमेंट के लिए खुल गए हैं।
Prime Minister Narendra Modi taking the India story to the global stage, making a strong pitch for India as the investment destination of the world.
2014 में 30 साल बाद पहली बार किसी एक राजनीतिक पार्टी को केंद्र में सरकार बनाने के लिए पूर्ण बहुमत दिया है। हमने किसी एक वर्ग या कुछ लोगों के सीमित विकास का नहीं, बल्कि सबके विकास का संकल्प किया। और मेरी सरकार का मोटो है सबका साथ, सबका विकास।
Modi emphasizing his growth agenda, which has made the world view India as a bright spot.
हमने जो रास्ता चुना है वो रास्ता है रिफॉर्म, परफॉर्म एंड ट्रांसफॉर्म। आज हम भारत की अर्थव्यवस्था को जिस प्रकार से निवेश के लिए सुगम बना रहे हैं उसका कोई सानी नहीं है। और हमारे प्रयासों का विश्व भर की बिजनेस कम्युनिटी ने स्वागत किया है। भारत में डेमोक्रेसी, डेमोग्राफी और डायनेमिज्म मिलकर डेवलपमेंट को साकार कर रहे हैं।
But the Prime Minister also sounding out a warning against protectionism, comparing its dangers to climate change and terror.
बहुत से समाज और देश ज्यादा से ज्यादा आत्म केंद्रित होते जा रहे हैं। ऐसा है कि ग्लोबलाइजेशन अपने नाम के विपरीत सिकुड़ता चला जा रहा है। इस प्रकार की मनोवृत्तियां और गलत प्राथमिकताओं के दुष्परिणाम को क्लाइमेट चेंज या आतंकवाद के खतरे से हम कम नहीं आंक सकते।
And a galaxy of business leaders assembled in Davos, giving a standing ovation to Prime Minister Narendra Modi's intent.
I think he captured it beautifully, that the ancient Indian wisdom has tremendous answers to today's conflicts in the world and the issues that the world is facing today. I think he spoke about protecting people from terrorism, protecting the planet from climate change, and challenges of protectionism.
I think it was an incredibly powerful speech. It spoke about India's past, it spoke about India's future, and I think this is, as the Prime Minister mentioned, India's time, and it's India's time to take leadership in the world.
What was very critical in terms of what I saw in the speech was that the agenda for India is going to continue to be developmental. And it's a developmental agenda that he's going to carry forward by integrating the entire global economy. And for me, that was very, very hard-hitting.
But back home, Modi's words drawing a discordant note from Rahul Gandhi. The Congress president raking up an NGO report pointing at India's income inequality that has plagued the country for decades. A charge totally out of place on a day when the PM is hard-selling India.
Under our government, a very important effort has been made by our Prime Minister to ensure the participation of the last man of our country in our economic system. Today, the fruits of economy are reaching the last man.
The message has gone to the world that Modi's India is ready for business and ready to take the lead. Bureau Report, Times Now.
You're watching the News Hour at 9. Debate number 1 on Times Now. Super Prime Time.
And joining me on the debate, PM in Davos, I'm joined by Dr. Sambit Patra, national spokesperson of the BJP, Suhail Seth, author and columnist and a regular at the World Economic Forum at Davos. How many seasons have you been there, Suhail? I believe at the last count it was at least 14 seasons that you've seen in Davos. Suhail Seth, if I could request you to get off that phone because you're on air and we need to get you hooked on to the viewers of Times Now. How many seasons at the World Economic Forum? Last count, 14 of them?
And I have to tell you, Navika, as someone who's been to Davos and someone who's understood and appreciated global leaders who addressed the forum, the World Economic Forum's annual meeting.
How many seasons at the World Economic Forum? I'm coming to you with the question, Suhail.
Well, 14.
14.
That's a
14.
lot.
Okay. Also introducing tonight, Suman C. Raman, political analyst, Tehseen Poonawala, political analyst, leans towards the Congress party. Rahul Gandhi, he says, is his leader. Ghanshyam Tiwari, national spokesperson of the Samajwadi Party. Dr. Dinesh Washne, leader of the CPI, in our studios in Noida. Let's go to our section called The Standpoint, opening up first, in which two counter views have 60 seconds each. And my first question goes to Tehseen Poonawala, who will be taking on Suhail Seth on this segment called The Standpoint. Both sides have 60 seconds to make their point. Tehseen, coming across to you first. Rahul Gandhi could have waited a fraction of a second longer before he tweeted what he did. The minute the Prime Minister's speech got over at Davos, a completely unbecoming tweet coming in from Rahul Gandhi, and he quoted an NGO Oxfam's report on the inequities as far as income inequities in India are concerned. Top 1% of the country getting 73% of the wealth. May I just remind you, Tehseen Poonawala, the same Oxfam gave a report in 2011 and said that in the last 20 years from 2011, income inequalities had grown in India almost double. Did Rahul Gandhi forget this when he was in the UPA and was sitting as part of a government which was ruling in 2011, or was he not a very active member in Parliament to raise these issues in Parliament then, and neither was he very active on social media? Mr. Tehseen Poonawala, your 60 seconds start now.
Thank you, Navika. There is never a wrong time to speak the truth, and I'm proud of Rahul Gandhi for speaking the truth. What he said was facts. Point number 2, Prime Minister Modi gave a fantastic speech in Davos, and I thank my Prime Minister for acknowledging the accomplishments of the Congress UPA government that led to record 10-year growths, that led Prime Minister Modi to compare what happened 20 years ago to where India is today. Please remember that the reforms that the Prime Minister, my Prime Minister, is showing off in Davos were reforms thought of a gentleman called Manmohan Singh, who my Prime Minister called Mon Mohan Singh, who he blocked the reforms, and today he's tom-toying about those same reforms. I want to thank my Prime Minister Modi, for the facts that he put out. But what my Prime Minister is not answering to anybody is, why has the inequality grown to a level? Because international reports said in 2011, from 2009 to 2012, India saw the highest job growth. It also said that the highest growth in ending poverty was from 2008 to 2014. The highest GDP growth decade was from 2004 to 2014. All of this has come down in my Prime Minister's tenure, at a time when oil is $40 a barrel, now at $60, at a time when jobs across the world are growing, jobs in India are falling.
Your 60 seconds are up. Not a single line in explanation on why Mr. Rahul Gandhi is just so bad-humoured. I just want to ask him, take a chill pill, Rahul Gandhi. Mr. Modi is hard-selling India. Aren't you part of India? Mr. Suhail said. Mr. Suhail said.
Manmohan Singh.
Did you hear one word of why Rahul Gandhi is in such a sour mood? Your 60 seconds begin now.
Thankfully, I don't speak for Rahul Gandhi, and nor am I a member of the Congress party, for that matter, any party. I just want to make 3 limited points, and I don't want to take cudgel with Tehseen Poonawala because, you know, grandstanding of this kind is not my cup of tea. I want to make 3 quick points. Number 1, Davos is about nation building, nation attractiveness for investment, and it is not only about hard selling, it's about statesmanship. I think what Narendra Modi did today was exemplify that to a high order. He talked about an India. He didn't talk about an India on date lines. So it's not about whether Dr. Manmohan Singh, who I'm a great admirer of, whether he did something or didn't do something. It's not about people. You know, this country needs to rise above people, and Narendra Modi today rose above people. He talked about Mahatma Gandhi, who was the father and is the father of the nation. He quoted Tagore, who is the person we all revere. So it's not about whether, you know, he talked about Manmohan Singh or didn't. You know, timelines are not relevant. What is relevant is, did India look great today?
You speak in 60 minutes. You don't speak in quantities of 60 seconds.
Just a quick
One second. Let me open up this debate. I just want to ask Mr. Ghanshyam Tiwari tonight. Mr. Ghanshyam Tiwari, do you think on a day when a Prime Minister, as Suhail Seth pointed out, was not talking about the 5 years or the 10 years, he was talking about a 20-year achievement of India. He was not talking about one government or the other. He was talking about the achievements of India. On that day, at least, Rahul Gandhi could have controlled the urge of going on to the social media, his latest toy, his latest pastime, which some people do it for him, rather than actually lauding India and its achievements?
Well, first and foremost, I must congratulate the Prime Minister, everyone in the country, for the Prime Minister to represent the country at Davos in such a fantastic manner. He spoke for the entire country, and when the Prime Minister is speaking for the entire country is together in presenting the nation to the world. As far as the scenario in which he spoke, there are tough questions anyways. The World Economic Forum, where he was speaking, came up with a list of inclusive index, which placed India at 62, which is basically about how the nation is prepared for a better future. We are placed behind Pakistan and China. So he was also speaking at a time when questions are being raised about our judiciary internally, when our inequality is rising and when our harmony is in question. The New York Times in last 3 years has spoken about rise of extremism in India 14 times in 14 editorials. So he was speaking in the backdrop of some tough challenges, and he made a brilliant speech. Whether Rahul Gandhi should have tweeted this or that, the important thing is opposition must push the government to focus on agenda of the country, the most important agenda of the country, and I think these tweets served a purpose.
Well, Sombit Patra, it's very convenient for Ghanshyam Tiwari to brush under the carpet the timing of the tweet of Rahul Gandhi. But he forgets the fact that since 1970, the Congress party has been giving the slogan of Garibi Hatao. What has happened? The Tendulkar committee had clearly pointed out in the UPA regime that anyone who earns 32 rupees a day is above the poverty line. Isn't that something that Rahul Gandhi knows? 32 rupees a day, enough for a meal, a square meal for a family of 5. enough for education, enough for drinking water, enough for electricity, enough for clothing? Was Rahul Gandhi's UPA government at that time making a joke out of the poor people that suddenly he's woken up to the inequalities when the Prime Minister is showcasing India at Davos?
See, Navika, first and foremost, I firmly believe that recently the tweets that come out from Mr. Rahul Gandhi's assistant, what is his name, PD, they are self-goals. And today's tweet, in fact, is a self-goal, in the sense that Mr. Rahul Gandhi questioning about 1% of India's population, amassing wealth worth 73% of this country. I firmly believe this question should have been asked within closed doors of 10 Janpath. He should have asked Mrs. Sonia Gandhi ji as to what was the reason as to why 16 years of Nehru as Prime Minister, 15 years of Indira Gandhi ji as the Prime Minister, 5 years of his father Rajiv Gandhi ji as the Prime Minister, 10 years of his mother looking after Manmohan Singh as the Prime Minister, and still there are inequalities existing in India. And this question should have been asked to the 10 Janpath, not to the Indian Prime Minister, when the Indian Prime Minister is working extremely hard to bolster the image of India, which was contrary few years ago on the important platform of Davos. And I firmly believe that this, I do not mean to use this word, but this rudalism, this crying every time India is being honored on an international platform should stop. At the end of the day, well, yes, Mr. Tehseen Poonawalla as well as Ghanshyam Tiwari have been courteous enough to begin to say that, well, he is our Prime Minister and he made a good speech. Thank you for acknowledging at least that. I think Mr. Rahul Gandhi should learn from the spokespersons of the Congress party.
Well,
at least while the Prime Minister is speaking, that's not the time when he should tweet.
Should Rahul Gandhi be taking a page out of your book? At least he should have said that the message of 1.3 billion Indians has been taken by a Prime Minister to the World Economic Forum after 20 years. Is this how petty and is this how churlish Rahul Gandhi should it be?
Actually, I take inspiration from both Mr. Rahul Gandhi and Mr. Akhilesh Yadav, who have time and again upheld the dignity of both the office of the Prime Minister and the Chief Minister. But it is, let me finish, but it is the duty.
Is this what they did today?
It is the duty of the
office. Is this what they did today?
I'm answering it. It is the duty. It is the duty of the opposition to raise questions that border our country. You spoke about a Tendulkar report and 32 rupees. Wrong or right, and I don't want to get into technicalities. Please ask your team to send you the report. Under Narendra Modi ji, the Planning Commission has set it at 26 rupees. BPL records, 26 rupees, which was severely criticized. So first, like Narendra Modi ji, improve the benchmarks. Point number two, Suhail Seth rightly said that this was about India. And Suhail Seth and Sambit Patra ji will agree with me that when Prime Minister talks about India being an open society, the most important factor for investment to come into India is two things. One, opposition should not just block ideas for the sake of blocking. FDI in retail, the nuclear investment, GST. But more important climate than that is the climate of peace. When you have internal disturbances, where you have people being beaten up, where you have the orders of the Supreme Court being violated by state government, how will investment come into India?
The economy.
No, I will. Because
when we discuss the economy, you want to discuss that. Why do you keep changing? Why do you keep changing the goalposts? Why do you keep changing the goalposts? Suhail said, when the Prime Minister, 1 minute, when the Prime Minister, Suhail said, when the Prime Minister says, when the, 1 minute,
let him finish. 1 minute, just give me one line. The economy depends severely on the rule of law being upheld, and if the Supreme Court of India is going to be made a joke of by state governments, we have a severe problem in our economy.
Is the rule of law being upheld?
I'll tell you.
Wherever now you finished your line. You finished your line. You finished your line. It's over now. Your monologue is over. 1 minute. Let me. Your rule of law, is it going to be upheld by Rahul Gandhi interfering in the way the judiciary is functioning?
In the way state governments do not uphold the Supreme Court, you will never get investment where rule of law is not upheld.
Let me take this question to Suhail Seth. Suhail Seth, when the Prime Minister says, if you want health with wholeness, come to India. If you want prosperity with peace, come to India. If you want wealth with wellness, come to India. Is he trying to showcase India, and what is Rahul Gandhi trying to do? Is he going to take away the brand India that Prime Minister Narendra Modi is taking to Davos? First time an Indian Prime Minister in 21 years is going there?
Look, let me say a couple of things. Number one, Tehseen is much younger, so perhaps he's not au fait with history. The Congress has had its share of gloom and doom as well, as all political parties do in any democracy. They presided over the emergencies, censorship, riots. So let's not go there. I'm a great believer in looking towards the future because history has no citizens. So here is what I believe is or has happened. Davos is not about venting what you believe about the opposition or what the opposition believes about the ruling party. It's about brand India, it's about Team India, and it's about 1.25 crores of Indians, which Tehseen rightly referred to as in the context of my Prime Minister. I'm deeply proud that my Prime Minister spoke the way he did. He spoke like a statesman, not a salesman. He spoke with sagacity. He quoted the scriptures not from a perspective of education but a perspective of sharing. When he talked about the Upanishads, when he talked about Gurudev Tagore, when he talked about Gandhi saying, I would like the windows and doors of my house to be open so that I can embrace the best that the world has to offer, he talked about an inclusive India. I don't give a damn about reports. Reports are statistics, and statistics are damn lies as far as I'm concerned, and I'm entitled to my opinion. What did Narendra Modi do today? He made India hold its head high. He opened the plenary session. Tehseen, I've been to Davos, and let me tell you, my friend, it is a great deal to open the plenary session. Donald Trump, no comparison, is closing it. But it's a big deal. You have the world's finest business leaders who take investment decisions. Do we have problems in India? Of course we do. I have tweeted, I have spoken that there are jokers within the BJP who are negating the development agenda of Narendra Modi by focusing on Padmavat rather than on development. That's parked. Do we have internal problems? We've always had internal problems. But we manage internal problems internally. We don't manage them on a global stage by ridiculing the person who represents each one of us, whose office represents the elected, whose office represents the idea of India. The same office that Jawaharlal Nehru ji, that Rajiv Gandhi, that Indira Gandhi, that Dr. Manmohan Singh occupied. It's the office we need to respect. Rahul Gandhi's tweet may be smart, but at times grace is more important than eloquence. Elegance and sagacity is more important than nitpicking. My limited view is that Rahul Gandhi is entitled to his views as he must. He is in opposition. But the opposition's business is not to oppose everything, especially when you're looking at world global business leaders and wanting them to come to India. I think Narendra Modi did a fabulous job. Does he have problems? I'm sure he does. And these problems are apparent to you and me. But you know, there are times when nations stand united. There are times when nations speak one voice, one India, one team. Today was that day. Let's celebrate that. Ghanshyam was elegant. Ghanshyam Tiwari was gracious. Sometimes being gracious is more important than being smart.
Mr. Dinesh
Sometimes
Vashne,
being gracious and sagacious is more important than tweeting.
Sometimes being, yes, Mr. Sumansi Raman, I'm coming to you, but Mr. Dinesh Vashne, sometimes grace is important. And at a time when your Prime Minister, when my Prime Minister, when Mr. Rahul Gandhi's Prime Minister is on a world stage, he's just about completed his address to a world showcasing India. Is that the moment to try and take a dig? And that's the question we've put out for our viewers to vote on. In his haste to target the Prime Minister, has he actually let down India? 79% of the people do believe, yes, he has. 21% of the people only stand with Rahul Gandhi. That's the overwhelming feeling of the people of India.
Look, Navika, please allow me to have only 1 minute uninterrupted. As a Prime Minister of India, it is good that Modi ji spoke at Davos. He has been given a chance to speak. Earlier, the Chinese Prime Minister spoke, and it is good that he spoke. But any economic forum, if doesn't discuss...
Oh, you only approve because the Chinese Prime Minister was given a chance to speak.
Don't put motives, please.
Okay. And it was a Chinese president. At least let's know our designations.
Sorry, Chinese.
It was a Chinese president. When I last checked, the Chinese didn't have a Prime Minister.
Thanks for your correction. Thanks for your correction. Any
Always
economic
welcome,
forum,
sir.
if it
Always
doesn't
happy to
discuss
help.
about the poverty and hunger in the world or in the country, economic disparities, unemployment, public funded education to all, and education to all, not a privilege but a right, public funded health care, viable MSP to all the farmers, and agriculture must be uplifted. NPA bank defaulters should not be the capitalist. Therefore, I believe in Davos, the business leaders, most of the business leaders, some of the business leaders are those who are NPA defaulters in India, some of the business leaders are those who failed the banks in America and Europe and the world during the recession from 2008 to 2012. And only one CMD of the bank in Ireland has been punished. Hence, these type of economic forums are being benefited for the finance capital. Finance capital mean capitalist is a bank, bank is a capitalist in economic terms. Hence, it has to be seen in those terms also. People of the country and people of the world is primary, not the only profit. We do not oppose the profit motive.
What should people do?
We do not oppose the monopolies.
They should start the
We
langar
oppose
system.
the monopoly
They
for
should do what the
under-profit,
UPA did.
for looting
Give
the people
loans
money.
to Vijay Mallya.
No.
Give loans to Vijay Mallya.
Anybody who has given a
back.
loan to Vijay Mallya either by Congress or BJP is wrong. One has given a loan despite he was regular defaulter.
What
that
do you
is
want?
Congress.
All
Another has allowed to run away. One has allowed Narendra Modi to go away. Another is not bringing him back. So all these in Congress, I'm not supporter of Congress as far as economic policy is concerned. Only problem with economic policy is concerned.
But are you supporter of the Congress as far as its social media policy is concerned?
I am coming. No, I'm not.
You said 1 minute, no?
No. Vasudhaya Kutumbakam. Modi ji used the sentence.
How long will you take to come there,
last sentence. Modi ji used my Prime Minister used the word Vasudhaya Kutumbakam. Vasudhaya Kutumbakam, is he practicing in India? What is Karna?
Is today the day?
What is Karna?
Is
Why not?
today the day to question it?
Today is the day to raise the Vasudhaya Kutumbakam and the World Economic Forum.
Even if you have a difference of opinion, today is the time when he is addressing.
Please try to understand the definition of Vasudhaya Kutumbakam, where what is one? All is one. All are equal.
Sambit Patra is rebutting you. Sambit Patra is rebutting you. Yes, Sambit Patra.
See, I'm astonished over here that despite the fact of when Suhail was absolutely right, today is a day that India should be celebrating. It is Team India, it is Team India, which
India
got a thumbs up side in Davos. So I firmly believe, sir, please, I did not interject. Please have your coffee and enjoy. We should be celebrating because at the end of the day, we all won because our Prime Minister made us proud. It was 125 crore Indian story, and I think we have done fantastically well. And as Suhail rightly pointed out, after 1997, it was Devagowda then, and for the first time we have an Indian Prime Minister opening up the plenary session. He gave out the idea of India there. But the irony over here is it's not the first of its kind tweet by Rahul Gandhi. Remember, a few days ago, Rahul Gandhi went to Bahrain. And while we had certain issues regarding China and Doklam way back over here, he was going and speaking in favor of China and castigating aspersions on the Indian Prime Minister there. And he came out with a tweet saying,
That's not true. He never spoke in favor of China. That's untrue.
That's untrue, Dr. Patra. Let me complete.
Sorry, but that's untrue.
Doklam was a tweet by him. Please, you can counter me, sir.
Yes, but
it was a very decent debate. We are not interjecting into anyone. You are sorry. You have every right to be sorry, sir. You can interject. You should not interject. You should wait for your turn and you can rebut me back. There was a tweet called Doklam. I firmly believe on issues of national importance, particularly when India has taken a matured stand, Mr. Rahul should have avoided the tweet. So I firmly believe this kind of consistent tweets by Rahul Gandhi, which score only a self-goal, is something that the country is seeing.
So let me get to Suman C. Raman. Suman C. Raman, 1 minute, I'm coming to you. Suman C. Raman. Let me ask you, Suman C. Raman, whether it is tweeting about Doklam, whether it is tweeting about the Oxfam report today, you know, is Rahul Gandhi outsourcing the seriousness of his politics to somebody in his social media? Or is Rahul Gandhi really serious about being a serious politician who is looking at the future of India? Now, may I ask you, Suman C. Raman, that is Rahul Gandhi aware of the fact that there is a report of Credit Suisse as well as Oxfam which talks about the period of 2000 to 2016. and it says the richest 1% of India, which used to own 36.8% of the wealth earlier, now owns 50% of the wealth. Now, out of 2000 to 2016, 10 years belong to the UPA government. So, is Rahul Gandhi completely oblivious of these facts?
Navika, let me... No, first of all, let me agree with most of the panelists that today was not the day for this tweet for two reasons. One, obviously, today is a day when India could have felt proud at Davos, and certainly the Prime Minister did do India proud with his speech there. So I think that today was not the day to embarrass or put out this kind of a tweet. Now, he could easily have done this 2 days down the line, and really it would not have merited much of attention, simply because the issue that he is mentioning there is a valid one. The other reason why it's a bit of a self-goal is the question that, you know, in these 60 years, the economic disparity has widened. I'll give you a little statistic. When the British left, this percentage of wealth with the top 1% was below 30%. So if it has moved from 30% to 73%, then obviously the party which has governed for 60 years also has some role to play. So I think for two reasons it was a bit of a self-goal, but clearly I would not have minded him putting this tweet a couple of days later, once the Prime Minister was back in India, simply because the point that it raises is valid. How are we going to address these income disparities? It is not an Indian thing, it's a global phenomena. But we need to look at it and say, because we're talking all the time of growth, GDP growth, and GDP growth means the growth of a small number of people, 1% of the population, leaving behind the remaining 99%. So that part of what Mr. Rahul Gandhi says was valid. Today was not the day to say it, and in many ways the Congress party is itself responsible for this figure of 73%. So for multiple reasons, a bit of a self-goal. He has been doing reasonably well on Twitter earlier in the last few months, but today I think there was a bit of a stumble.
Okay. Tehseen Poonawala is extremely agitated, extremely defensive. Extremely defensive. Mr. Suhail said, just because Rahul Gandhi is being attacked even by Suman C. Raman, let's give Tehseen a chance to respond, and then I'll come to you, Mr. Suhail.
I'm not agitated.
Today was not the day. Navika,
Suman has a right to his point of view.
Yeah, my point is there's a question of timing. I'm not objecting to the tweet. I'm saying it should not have been today.
He's not agitated. I'm not at all agitated. I'm just having a nice time. Suman, and it's an intellectual debate. Suman, where I disagree with you completely is, but I take most of your points, is the worrying factor today for India is, and if you read most of the world reports, while job creation across the world is growing up, I take your point with income disparity, while job creation is growing up, India is the only country in the world where job creation has actually fallen. And that's the worrying sign for India, and there are no questions on that. The answers to that is pakoras. Point number two, Suman, which is very important, is that, you know, you talk about...
My point is not about the validity of the tweet. My point is about the timing. See, today was a day when all the Indians feel proud. It's not a question of one segment of the population feeling proud.
May I beg your indulgence for a minute? When Times Now met with the Prime Minister over the weekend, we asked him about Rahul Gandhi's statement in Bahrain. We asked him, what does he think about leaders who go abroad and tell the Indian diaspora abroad about the problems at home and how they need to come back and solve those problems, how India is besieged by problems. Yeah. Look at the response the Prime Minister gave. Listen in to the Prime Minister.
प्रधानमंत्री जी, आप भारत की इमेज, इंडिया की जो इमेज है वो बाहर के देशों में जाकर बढ़ाने की कोशिश करते हैं, लेकिन हमारे यहाँ के कुछ लीडर्स हैं जो बाहर जाते हैं और जाकर अपने जो डायस्पोरा हैं, जो इंडियंस बाहर सेटल्ड हैं, उनको जाके कहते हैं कि भारत में सब कुछ बहुत खराब चल रहा है, आपकी मदद की ज़रूरत है, आप वापस आइए, कुछ मदद करिए, भारत में सब डूबता जा रहा है। उनसे आप क्या कहेंगे?
शायद जो लोग विदेश में रहते हैं और जो लोग विदेश जाते आते रहते हैं, आज भारत के पासपोर्ट की जो इज्जत है, आज भारत के पासपोर्ट की जो ताकत है, शायद ही पहले कभी इतनी ताकत किसी ने अनुभव की होगी। आज एयरपोर्ट पर एंटर होते ही इमिग्रेशन अफसर के पास जब भारत का पासपोर्ट कोई रखता है तो बड़े शान के साथ सामने वाला बड़े गर्व से उसके सामने देखता है। ये हर कोई बताता है, हर कोई कहता है भाई दुनिया में आज मैं समझता हूं कि सत्य यही है। बाकी दुनिया में जाकर के अगर हम कुछ बोलते हैं तो देश की पहचान के बजाय बोलने वाले की पहचान ज्यादा हो जाती है।
Well, Suhail said, what did you think of the Prime Minister's answer? He said, देश की पहचान से ज्यादा बोलने वाले की पहचान होती है ऐसे स्टेटमेंट से। Has Rahul Gandhi given his pehchan today?
You see, I don't want to. No, I don't want to be dismissive of individuals. And as I said, Davika, earlier, this to my mind was a day beyond political personalities, beyond political grandstanding, and beyond political sarcasm. The tragedy is that if all political parties in this country allowed parliament to function, then the issues that Rahul Gandhi has raised would be answered. But the problem is, half these guys don't allow parliament to function. And they want solutions to a problem on Twitter, which can't happen. So having said that, I'm a great believer when I'm outside the shores of India, there's only one thing I will do for India. I will always support everything other than murder and crime and, whatever. Today, and Mr. Raman talked about the fact that, economic disparity. For God's sake, it's the World Economic Forum. It's not the world's political forum. They're discussing issues from the prism of business, from the pyramid of business. That's their job. That's what Davos is about. So please understand the context. In the context today, the Prime Minister made three important submissions. So they don't have to speak about economic disparities? And I don't want to go over his speech. Number one, he said, India, please, did I interrupt you? So let's be civil. Number one, he said India is ready for business. Number two, he says India's cultural imprint, going into our past, has always embraced cultures beyond our shores. And the third thing, he addressed the three most critical issues of terrorism, climate change, and protectionism. These are very important economic issues which, as Tehseen referred to in job creation, will also impact jobs, will impact the economy. So let's cut the man some slack. Let's accept the fact that today he delivered a statesman-like speech on behalf of every one of us Indians, including the Indians who, by the way, have been sending me messages from the diaspora saying, we felt proud, we stand tall.
This is the third time you're saying the same thing, and nobody else disputed on this panel. Nobody on this panel
when our Prime Minister goes and speaks abroad. And what is Rahul Gandhi giving to the Indians here? He's ridiculing the Prime Minister. In his hurry to mock the Prime Minister, he's actually letting down India. All rebuts coming in from all directions. Ghanshyam Tiwari first. He hasn't spoken. He hasn't spoken. Ghanshyam Tiwari first, and then I'm coming to you.
Well, Navika, two quick things. One, let me bust this myth that was propagated right now in some discussions, that the data that has been presented is that 73% of the wealth generated in 2017 was backed by or cornered by 1% of Indians. It is not about the overall income equality, and that blame must squarely rest with the Modi Sarkar. Second, India is not a startup that was carved out in 3 years. When the Prime Minister spoke, he spoke like a statesman for the entire civilizational journey of the country. And he did a brilliant job in the global context when he took on China and United States. United States on the context of protectionism and on global warming, climate change, and China in the context of expansionary politics. So in that sense, he he took the Indian stature upwards at a global level. But that should not dissuade parties in India, political voices in India, to give a true picture to people of India. On a day when the nation was being burnt by the French on a petty issue like Padmavat, the data on employment, on our institutions is saying that India faces a grim situation. So let us not hold our head high on a grandstanding and not focus on important issues that face the country.
Do not exist. Nobody's making a case that there are no concerns.
As Navika Kumar said,
nobody is saying that, Mr. Ghanshyam Tiwari.
And I will, as Navika said, and I will reiterate, as Navika said, and I will reiterate, Rahul Gandhi has every right, both as a citizen of this country and as the leader of the opposition party in Parliament, to raise these issues.
Navika,
My limited point is, for all issues to be raised, there is a context and there is a forum, so that the issues are raised, redressal is sought, and the activity is brought to closure. Today was not the day, because today Narendra Modi was representing civilizational India. He wasn't representing India of the last 3 years or discussing the 10 years before that.
Point well made. Dr. Sambit Patra, Tehseen Poonawalla and Dinesh Varshney both have a point to make. So I'd request you listen to both their points and then you can rebut Ghanshyam Tiwari, Tehseen and Dinesh Varshney together. Yes, Tehseen. Quick, 30 seconds.
30 seconds. Quickly, Sohail, there's never a wrong time to do the right thing. Point number 2, Sohail, and to Navika, you blame Rahul Gandhi for raising the points that he did raise today. You do not ask why the Prime Minister in Japan said no Indian was proud to be an Indian before he became Prime Minister. That was also on the global stage. And the last point, Navika, Sohail rightly, please, doesn't matter whoever, it was on a global stage. And the last point, Navika, Sohail rightly said that Parliament is the forum to raise these questions. But when my Prime Minister shuts down Parliament for Gujarat elections, I have a problem that my institutions are being subverted. Parliament and my Supreme Court is being subverted when the orders of my Supreme Court are not followed. And I repeat my last point, that where in countries where rule of law is not upheld, investments will not come in, no matter how good the economic climate.
So
and that is the problem
India,
with India.
Or are you actually telling foreigners to go away?
I love India,
are you telling investors to go away?
I love India, but for India to prosper and for us to end poverty, investment must come in.
So you are making a case that investors should be worried about coming to India.
The government must uphold the rule of law.
I really don't know where your patriotism is on the eve of Republic Day.
Why should I?
Dinesh Varshney, 30 seconds.
Come on.
Look, Navika, at the Economic Forum, Modi ji, my Prime Minister and our Prime Minister said about ease of doing business, and he said FDI is allowed in almost every sector except few, he himself said. I would like that the Times Now would play his bites before 2014. But anyhow, ease of doing business does not apply only to monopoly or to the finance capital. It also applies to the MSME. What about the MSME? Medium and small scale industry. They are due.
Should he discuss this at the World Economic Forum
this is a problem. These so-called World Trade leaders are not ready to protect
the floor is yours, Dr. Sambit Patra. Criticisms coming your way. But Sambit Patra, I'd like you to recall one other word that was made by the World Bank report in 2011, which said attempts by the Indian government to combat poverty were not working. It said programs was beset by corruption, bad administration and underpayments. That's a report that Rahul Gandhi has never mentioned. But you were rebutting all the allegations that were made against you and your government.
See, let me tell you, people of this country are extremely intelligent, and that's the reason as to why when they get tangible results because of good governance, because of reform, perform and transform agenda of Mr. Narendra Modi, they vote for Mr. Modi, they vote for Bharatiya Janata Party, which we have been seeing election after election. And as far as people in Davos are concerned, well, we may be critical towards them, but they are also extremely intelligent. They know Padmavat is not an issue. If they want to come and invest in India, they will come and invest in India, because at the end of the day, they can palpate whether India is performing or India is not performing. And that's the reason as to why, while we stood at $30 billion in 2013 as the FDI, today we are standing at $62 billion. And that shows the success story of India, that shows the delivery by Mr. Narendra Modi, the Prime Minister. And secondly, there are a slew of good news which have been flowing since 3 or 4 days. Sensex has gone to Mount 35,000. Why? Because there is good mood of Indian business. Secondly, we have, I did not interject, I heard all of you, please hear me out. Secondly, as far as the CEO, survey is concerned, the CEO survey says that India today stands at the 5th best position as far as investment scenario is concerned. Now let me come to the real story and hit the nail at the end. Now why Rahul Gandhi is doing this? Remember, Rahul Gandhi after, just a second sir, I'll complete. Rahul Gandhi, before becoming the president of the Indian National Congress, has not delivered any result. has not performed in any of the election. He has seen only failures. So today when he becomes the president of the Congress party, in this overzealousness to prove that he exists, what he does is score self-goals after self-goals. My firm belief is a leader has to prove on the ground, not on Twitter.
On that
For God's
note,
sake, start acting on ground.
Let me just forewarn you, let's never write off anybody, Dr. Sambit Patra. That would be advice well taken by the BJP. Never write off anybody before their time. But let me also point out tonight what my viewers are saying. What Rajendra Sharma is saying, more pollution in Congress than in global atmosphere. Raga should think of internal pollution and not Modi's policies. Ravi Hegre says, I don't know why... in fact, Ravindra Hegre says Raga is a cynic who, when smells flowers, looks around for a coffin. But the big questions we're asking tonight, is it Rahul Gandhi's case that income disparities have emerged only under Modi in the last 3.5 years? Question number 2, is Rahul Gandhi unaware about the historic income disparities that have blighted India since independence? Did Rahul Gandhi ever ask why his grandmother's Garibi Hatao slogan coined in 1970 never lifted Indians out of poverty? And of course, why hasn't Rahul Gandhi as an MP ever asked the same questions of Dr. Manmohan Singh when he was the Prime Minister and Rahul Gandhi was in Parliament? Those are the questions for you, the viewer, to think about and for you to judge on who's right and who's not. And the overwhelming result of the poll, 80% of the people do feel that Rahul Gandhi, with his tweet today, has let down India in his hurry to mock Prime Minister Narendra Modi. PM in Davos. Thank you very much, dear viewers, and thank you to all my panelists for joining me here on debate number 1. Taking a short break, Anand Narasimhan with the debate number 2 at 10 PM on the other side.